Hello, friends, and welcome to the Optimized Advisor Podcast, where we focus on optimizing the well-being and best practices of insurance and financial professionals today. On this show, our objective is to help you optimize your life, optimize your profession, and learn from other optimized advisors. I'm your host, Scott Heinila. We hope you enjoy the show. Good morning, Jason. Jason Labrum.
Hi, Scott Heinila.
How are you doing?
I'm good, man.
I'm so comfortable with you.
I know. It's like we're brothers from another mother.
It's amazing. How long have we actually known each other?
Like a week.
We do have one person to give credit to.
We do. Mr. Dave Harris.
That's right.
My buddy. He's a good dude, too.
He is happy-go-lucky.
I love Dave.
Let me give you a little introduction here, and then we can dive into the content.
Sounds so formal.
So for the audience, it is this part will be. The rest maybe not so much. Jason's been helping individuals, families, and businesses with financial planning, portfolio management, and business retirement plans since 1998. Jason founded Labrum Wealth Management, which is now known as Intelligence Driven Advisors, ERS. We will get into that in 2009, after spending 12 years with two major Wall Street brokerage firms. He's certainly involved in the community, served both on the board of the directors of the Carlsbad Boys and Girls Club since 2002. In 2015, he launched Financial Detox, a consumer advocacy brand with the mission of delivering transparent and simple financial education to the masses. You are host of a radio show as well as the podcast. You've authored a book. You are a very, very busy person. I thank you kindly for joining us today to learn a little bit more about you, your practice, your history, what makes you tick, how you manage all of these things, and your time and personal interest, which is vast.
Yes.
You're a man after my own heart. So we'll talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Sincerely, thanks for being here.
Thanks, man. It's great to be here. Awesome studio.
Thank you.
This is cool.
It's fun, yeah.
I would have expected nothing less from you.
It's hard work.
You're an achiever.
I try to be.
You are. You're awesome.
And come up with good ideas and create an experience for people that is memorable.
Yeah,
at least a little bit.
You've done that, but you're also just an interesting person, which is, I think, what drives a lot of people's success in business is, are you interesting? Like as a human being, do you have interests? Are you interesting? Are you fun to talk to? Do you have stories to tell? Or are you just like boring?
I
don't like boring people.
No.
They bore me.
So let me ask you this question. Is boring a person who's really doing like one or two things really good? Or is that not boring?
No.
That's an interesting question. I think about that a lot. Like, should I do more of less things? Or should I be proud about the fact that, no, I'm sufficient at a number of things that I enjoy doing that bring me fulfillment? Is there a right answer? I don't know.
I don't think there's a right answer. I was going to say, I don't think we could pass judgment on that, because for some people, doing more of one or two things is better for them. And for other people, like you and I, that's kind of hard.
Like, let's take golf as an example. I aspire to be a better golfer, but I acknowledge the fact that I'm doing a lot of other things and I have not dedicated the time. Tell me about your journey to become a very strong amateur golfer. I mean, you told me the story about when you were a kid and your upbringing.
I started as a kid. I'm not very good now. I'm getting worse because other interests and work.
You're critical of yourself.
Yeah, I was good at a while, though. I was pretty good in high school and early in college. And then I like to say, well, I met other extracurricular activities that distracted me from my...
But when you were a kid, you told me about what your protocol was, like what your discipline was.
Played golf every day, pretty much.
Where'd you grow up?
Starting at like 9 years old, played on a little goat track, Richfield, Utah. Literally, course was open like 7 months a year, and mounds for greens and flat. There were literally, I think at times, cows on the golf course cutting grass.
And you'd spend hours perfecting.
Yeah, I was a non-Mormon in a Mormon community of a tiny town, and we lived outside of town, of the tiny town, outside of the tiny town.
Wow.
So it wasn't like a lot of other things to do besides, there was a golf course there, and then there were motorcycles, and there was shooting and hunting and fishing and that kind of stuff. So we
loving every day.
Yeah, total
Luke Bryan song. That's right.
Exactly. That was the childhood.
Do you drink black coffee or do you drink coffee?
No, I don't drink coffee. I'm more like a green tea guy, which is interesting. I have enough energy. I really don't need coffee.
Right.
And when I do drink it, it gets a little spazzy.
It does.
Yeah. I had on one of our radio shows, we did somebody brought me a Monster Energy drink as like a joke because I don't drink coffee, but a big one of those full-on Monster Energy drinks.
Right.
So I crushed it during the show, right, like the first segment, and things went a little haywire after that. That stuff really works. It gives you energy.
Oh, it really does.
It turns all the buttons on.
The amount of caffeine in those things is off the charts.
It's not good for you.
All right, we digress, and
Yeah.
I digress. I could easily digress into a
Yeah.
lot of topics of discussion with you. But today's, I mean, we want to be serious and intentional about who you are, your practice, learning from you, sharing those insights and experiences that you've gleaned over your career, and helping other advisors kind of learn from who we would identify and with respect and appreciation as a person who's a living example of doing the right things.
Is that what we're doing? Are you targeting this show towards advisors, right?
So it's 3 categories.
Okay.
It is. The audience is advisors predominantly because that's the customers that we serve. So the idea is we're going to hit 3 main lanes.
Yep.
2 very specific. One would be sharing with advisors from other advisors that we feel hit the mold. They're operating at an optimal level. And in the context of specifically being a wealth manager, financial professional, financial planner, insurance professional, those things. Fun idea, though, not always. So let's say you learn from, or we can bring on another entrepreneur that's built a successful practice that's not financial planning.
The bourbon guy.
100% bourbon guy.
Yeah.
I mean, starting a company in the middle of a pandemic and figuring that out, we can learn a lot from somebody like that who's operating a successful practice. So that's one lane. The other one is what I call shop talk, right? So it's staying specifically in the lane of insurance, annuities, long-term care, financial planning, financial technology solutions, product, carrier representatives, things like that. And then the third, which is the widest net, is just helping advisors optimize their life. So our next show is going to be with Justin Batt of Daddy Saturday, who's founded this Daddy Saturday movement about being intentional fathers, very faith-based. So we all want to raise good kids, but what's the ultimate goal in all of that? Having them be wonderful human beings.
Yep.
And so I'm very passionate about his mission and just can get charged up about that kind of a thing.
Yeah, you were talking about that the other day. It sounded really cool.
Yeah, I had a great conversation with him. We're going to be talking with him next week.
Cool.
And so stay tuned for our listeners. Anywho, that's what this show is all about.
I like it. It sounds great.
So your father was in the financial planning arena.
Well, he started in the car business.
Oh, he did.
So my life in Utah growing up in a little town was, my dad was he and his father owned a Labrum Ford franchise. So we were in the car business for the first 15 years. And my dad was in every business. He's a lot like us.
Yeah.
He loved horses, so he sold horses. So he had horse trailers. Then he was camping and hunting, so he had camp trailers on his lot. And then, he's into motorcycles, so he had motorcycles. And next thing you know, he's selling snow. He kind of just had a lot of range.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. I think I could do that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Well, I like those. I'm gonna make a business out of it.
So
he made a business out of everything he liked, which was everything.
With that regard, what advice did you learn, or did he provide you in that? Like, do what I did, or learn from some of these challenges and mistakes and stay in your lane, or what advice did you learn along the way in that?
I think it's a little bit of both. Like when you meet my dad, I don't think you met him yet, but when you do someday, they've had more fun in their lifetime than entire cities have had of fun, right? They just had a good time.
Yeah.
My parents did. They didn't really think a lot about the future and saving and planning. They just really lived life to the fullest. In doing that, he went to start a new business in Las Vegas, a new car dealership, and that didn't work out so well. So he ended up in the financial business, long story short, right?
Okay.
And so I was either going to be in the car business or the financial business. I didn't know, but my dad's a great salesman, and I'm kind of naturally a salesman, so I got sold. And when he became a financial advisor and became very successful quickly, it was like, this is the best business in the world. And so I just kind of followed those footsteps.
First and foremost, I can sell. It's a matter of what I want to sell.
Yeah. Well, you have relationships, you know how to talk to people, you can convey a message, then you're probably a good salesperson. And I think that sales for a long time had this dirty and still probably does, there's kind of a dirty connotation to it, right? You're a
Right.
sales guy.
Right.
Well, if you're a good salesperson, what you're doing is solving people's needs
Right.
with something that is appropriate for them, that's a fair value, and you're doing something good for somebody. That's what a good salesman does. A bad salesman is somebody who's, talking somebody into buying something they don't really need.
Right.
So
Knowledgeable.
Yeah. So I think being knowledgeable, informative, and consultative and helping people solve problems is sales, and that's what we do.
Yeah. Amen.
And you have to be able to talk to people, and you have to care about people if you're going to be really good at it long term. Because all the hacks out there that are selling the wrong product or doing the wrong thing, they're going to burn out.
Right.
They're going to get burnt out. Their reputation's going to burn out. They're going to burn out. It's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Seems easier at the start, but it's the wrong way to do it.
Yeah. You can fool people for oh so long.
Yeah.
And this is a small world.
It is. Small town, too. San Diego and Orange County. I mean, these aren't big towns, right? Really?
Yeah. No.
This is
Certainly, that to that point, it's very, very true. And depending on where else you are in the country, even smaller. So how'd you become tied into the financial planning world? I mean, when did you make that decision and how?
About mid-college, I started doing presentations on investing and financial planning because my dad was into it. And my dad's my hero, man. He's a mentor. He's just he's like the last John Wayne left in this town. I mean, he really is.
That's cool.
He's bad to the bone.
Yeah.
He's a stud. He's just a stud. He's 70. I went up and saw him the other day. They live in Temecula, and he's 75 years old. And when I see him, I always kind of wrestle with him and tug. He's bad. He's strong, man. I couldn't move him around. I tried to get him in a little Kimura and bend his arm a bit, and I couldn't even get it. He's feisty.
Oh, that's great.
74. He's ripped.
If only.
Yeah.
It could be,
He's
what a
stud.
goal to be.
And my mom's great and awesome and passionate and just so. So being that I saw him being successful in that, I'm like, well, this is a perfect entree. So I started doing presentations, and then I went to interview at Merrill Lynch during my last week or so of college. And I was sitting there with Mike O'Leary. I tell the story in the book, and his big old Coke bottle glasses. And
Yeah,
just
I remember that.
military kind of grumpy, mean guy, but also smart and nice in a way. And he said, I'm going to hire you. He said, I know you're going to fail. You have no chance of success in this business. You're not old enough. You're not smart enough. And but I know your family, and I know you're come from good breeding. I'm going to hire you. I'm like, that's a great entry. And so it turns out that he ended up hiring me, and I went to work the day after I graduated on Saturday. I was working at Monday morning at 6:30 at Merrill Lynch. So
What'd you glean from that experience? Going through that.
Well, I love that he told me I was going to fail, that I
Right.
had no chance of success. I said,
Because you were like, no.
I said, you don't have no idea who I am.
He instantly gave you the Tom Brady complex.
Yeah, I mean, I said, I will just
Destroy
You're going to
this.
have to kill me in order to stop me.
Right.
Right? But so then I just went to work. But holy cow, thinking about that back in the day is just
When was that?
1998.
Oh, yeah. Just perfect timing. Booming and then.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then I went into production as an advisor, so advisors will understand that. Right? At first, I was just an orientation financial advisor. It was like learn the ropes, 18-month training program. I went into production as advisor in March of 2000. I kid you not, to the month. March of 2000, the absolute pinnacle top of the market, right? So I was 25 years old trying to convince the world that I was the secret to their life savings, as the internet bubble's coming apart. It was a rough run.
Oh, man.
Like daily thoughts of what am I doing? I had friends in the mortgage business. I had friends in other businesses making 10 times more money than I was.
Right.
I was starving. And
Starving.
just grinding from 6:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night every single day. Grinding, cold calling, networking, chamber
Markets
of
in
commerce. I
turmoil.
mean, just markets, pummeling. Everybody I put to work was losing money. Every client I got, I'd bring them on. They would go down. And I remember in 2003, I finally had client accounts start making money, 2003. And I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I actually made this client some
Right.
money.
Go figure.
Yeah.
know?
It actually can work. Holy cow. When you're 3 years of a whooping, 2000 was not that bad if you were globally diversified. But then 2001 got a little worse. And then 2002 was just horrible.
Right.
That's a long run, 3 years. People nowadays investing forget about that.
Right.
It's short memories of investing.
Very short memories.
It's amazing how short people's memories are.
So then in 2003, then what? Things started to clean up a little bit.
Yeah.
Light was there.
I realized in 2003 about that I thought the whole model was broken, and I was about to quit the business because everybody in my office was developing portfolios for clients one at a time. It was like a customized reinvent the wheel every time you have a new client. And I was trying to grow my business and getting new clients. So I was like, this is broken. Something's wrong with this, right? And I said, well, let's think about this logically. Every client falls somewhere between a capital preservation investor. They're ultra conservative or they're ultra aggressive or somewhere in between.
Right.
You can't be outside of I'm ultra conservative and I want to preserve my money only. I don't care about growth and I'm ultra aggressive, right? So if you build portfolios along that spectrum and then you talk to clients and you understand them and you build a financial plan, they'll fit into one of those portfolios. Now all of a sudden you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. You kind of repeat the process and create scalability and efficiency.
Right.
And so about 2003 is when I started doing that, and it was great. I remember some of the big producers and the older guys coming up to me and seeing my sheet where I had my conservative, moderate growth, aggressive growth, my models all built out. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, everybody gets one of these models, right? Because you're somewhere on the spectrum. They're like, well, nobody had ever even thought of that. I have a audio recording. This is awesome.
That's
I still
amazing.
have it of a drive to Vegas with my wife talking about basically what is now the robo model. And I'm saying we need to build model portfolios. People come online, they ask a couple questions. I just didn't have the money or the know-how how to do it then. But like 15 years before the robo, we were talking about how you should do this, right? And robos are huge now.
Right. Absolutely.
Personal capital and betterment and all those are.
So without question, falling into that or implementing that in your practice without question was a pivotal moment in your career in what then ensued.
For sure. We created scalability, efficiency. I mean, we know what's in every client's portfolio. We know when we bought it, when we would reallocate, when we would trim some profits. We know every position in every client's portfolio, and we monitor those intently, and we understand what we're building. I think too many advisors reinvent the wheel each time. They haven't gone through a process and created a SOP, a standard operating procedure. How do you invest money for a conservative client? How about a moderate? How about a growth? How about an aggressive growth? Somebody who needs retirement income, somebody who doesn't need income. You got to kind of create a standard operating procedure. The customization comes from the financial planning. Mm-hmm. I believe in helping people realize their true financial purpose and their goals and objectives. Doesn't come from recreating the investment wheel every time, because that becomes a yard sale and unmanageable, and then it gets messed up.
So from that time point until you founded Intelligence-Driven Advisors, what was the path there, and what led to you taking that leap of faith and real risks probably in your personal life, obviously professional life, in doing so?
I knew that I didn't want to work at a big firm the whole time I was there. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of like my dad a bit, right? The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree.
Right.
And just that
independent
conformity
thinker.
And, building a model for the lowest common denominator. I mean, the entire, to me, and is the wirehouses and the brokerage firms and the big names. I mean, they're built for the dumbest person at the firm because they have to protect themselves from the guy who doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
So you have to operate within that structure. That was terrible. Couldn't hire my own staff. I was kind of using the staff of the office and stuff. So I always knew that was going to happen. And literally in 2009 is when I finally just capitulated and said I'm out.
The next turning point.
Yeah, the next beatdown.
Oh, man.
So September of 2009.
Which I imagine your individual practice at that point was scaling.
Oh, yeah, we're doing great. 08 was
and
great for me because we tend to find that when markets are in turmoil, people are more open and willing to have a discussion and receive qualified advice, right?
Right.
Advice from what seems like a qualified source.
Yeah. The greed had subsided, and now it's shifted to fear and what
people then want help.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so we've been on this bull run for so long that clients are kind of starting to feel like, hey, I can do this on my own. It's real easy. I bought Apple and Tesla. I'm crushing it.
Right.
And it doesn't always work that way. I had a client the other day who, brilliant guy. I mean, IQ is probably off the charts.
Right.
Probably 10 times smarter than I am. The guy's smart. And he comes into me. He's very conservative in his portfolio, doesn't like volatility, hates risk. Every time the market goes down, wants to get out. Comes into me and says, well, how come we didn't keep up with the NASDAQ? I'm like, what? I like took me like 3. What do you mean? He's all the NASDAQ's up 50%. I'm like, right. You're not in the NASDAQ. You have things that are NASDAQ-like, and they were up 62, right? They did great, but that's a small piece of your portfolio because just literally focused on why am I not beating the NASDAQ when 6 months earlier he's saying when there's volatility, we got to get out of the market. It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I was going somewhere with that, and I lost my train of thought. But
well, we were talking about you taking the leap of faith and
so
setting
it's,
up IDA, and
that was the best move ever. And everybody who does it.
But initially, I mean, even out of the gate, day one, it was like
scary as hell.
Scary as hell.
Oh man, I'm going around with my baby. I still remember Dax, my now 11-year-old, in a car seat, and I'm carrying him through offices as I'm looking for space to lease, trying to make sure nobody from my firm sees me because that would be, you don't leave, as most advisors know, when you leave firms in the financial business, it's nasty, especially if you leave the big
wirehouse. Yeah.
Oh man, it's nasty.
Nasty.
And they all go to work. The vultures come out, fangs, and they start trying to sink their teeth into your clients and steal your livelihood away from you because a lot of them were, sorry, this might come across wrong, but are too lazy and not growing their own business, and they don't know how to build their business. So when an advisor leaves, it's a great time to just, go to work and try and steal his livelihood.
Sometimes honesty and directness is not always the nicest thing.
It's not.
But I'm always an advocate of friendly or not friendly. Yeah, honesty is always the right answer.
It is, and you got to show respect and be kind to people. But
of course,
at the same time, that was crazy. Got a baby. Didn't have a lot of money and wealth accumulated. I was doing okay. I've been in the business, and then things were.
How did you ultimately say, I'm mulling this over. I'm doing this because I'm going to put it all out there. I know I can do this.
I think it came from just having horrible assistance and support. Right? Like I
can't go on this way.
You have great people working here. They've been with you for 6 years. You get to decide whether to hire them or to keep them or not. You have control over that. I couldn't continue. It just wasn't going to work. And plus, I started kind of understanding the fiduciary advisors versus advisor model.
Right.
I didn't totally. Even when I left after 12 years and being a VP, I still didn't totally understand that.
Yeah.
But I was going, the firm's getting paid – let's say on a variable annuity, right? I have a variable annuity. It's great for a client. I found out that the firm was getting paid 4.5% of the, a commission, but I would only get paid 2.5%.
Right.
So I'm like, well, who's keeping the other 2%? Like the firm is. And so the firm had this pay-to-play product platform, right?
Right.
Where anybody selling products through them and their advisor force was paying the firm extra money, or they were haircutting me, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
That was really frustrating for me because it wasn't transparent.
Right.
And I had to dig and find out. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, this is a haircut. And so they're telling me I'm getting paid 40% on my what do they call it? My production credits.
Right.
But I'm actually getting paid like 20% of my revenue that I'm generating to the firm because I'm generating way more revenue.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing for advisors.
Absolutely. 100%.
This is probably an educational moment in the show that I think I can really help advisors who are thinking about, am I at a wirehouse? Should I go independent? Should I come work with somebody like you? If you think you're getting paid 40% at a wirehouse and you should go get 40% on an independent, they're different. They're different models because like our advisors get paid on revenue. The 100% of the revenue, because it's all transparent, right? We're not collecting fees as pay-to-play product platform fees at our firm. So our advisors are getting paid on revenue, not production credits, these phantom credits. So, and we pay our advisors really well, I hope, and we always look for ways to pay them more. But 40% at our firm would be equivalent to getting paid, 60% at a wirehouse.
At a wirehouse, right.
Yeah. Yeah, we just went from having fun and laughing to now we're in the weeds.
We are.
We should get out of the weeds. I like yeah.
So what did the first, what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about boating, hunting?
Yes. Yeah, all of
your last
all the above.
Pilot, flight, all that stuff.
Something.
We'll get into that. So the first 18 months of intelligence-driven advisors, what did it look like? What did you learn from that process? And then...
At that time, it was Labrum Wealth Management, Labrum Capital Advisors, but same thing, same firm. It just was systems. when you run a business, it's really hard because I realized.
I mean, you're starting from ground zero. I mean,
zero, not 120 million in assets total. Note, you need CRM, you need compliance, you need a trading system. How do you trade? How do you report? There's no one package that puts all that together really.
Right.
There's a few starting to emerge, which we could talk about if you want to, but probably bore everybody. But it was so that was hard. I realized, oh wow, I'm not just an advisor now. I actually own and run.
You're running a business
now. I run a business, so that's challenging. That's why most people don't do it. Probably, understandably so.
Yeah.
I spend an enormous amount of my time, and now more and more, and intentionally now more and more running the business.
We're working with a really very successful advisor now. Great person, and he's been in practice for 30 plus years. Was always an advisor and had a team and did very well and was the front man and client relationships and client acquisitions and all of that and loved it. He's woven to do that.
Yeah.
And wasn't by his choice, but now has kind of been lumped into having to leave that firm and start his own.
Oh.
And he's realizing this now at a very late stage in his career. Wow. I've never had to run a business.
Yeah.
And the things that I'm now immersed into is life-changing when I've got, 5 to 10 years left in my career, and how am I going to manage that and work through that? So to your point, it's an overwhelming and daunting process, but there's so many things that become critically important, how I'm going to lay the foundation for the future of my firm.
Yeah, if you want to and if you're willing to, right? I mean, because it's a real commitment.
Yeah.
It's a whole different beast. There's nothing wrong with working for another firm. I mean, you can have a better balance of lifestyle versus work because, as you know, as a business owner, I mean, it's Sunday, it's Saturday, it's at your kid's game. You're getting interrupted with something you have to do. It's tough, right?
Yeah,
There's a real commitment to that. There's a real reward for it, for owning your own business, because there's valuation if you build the right kind of business. There's an exit strategy maybe, or there's just flexibility and freedom and some tax benefits maybe, and there's but it's a real commitment. Everybody wants it. It's just who's willing to do it.
That's right.
Right? You can give somebody the recipe, and they'll all want that result.
Yep.
Like especially now after 23 years, working hard. We have $1.1 billion in assets, 1.1 billion. And now the rewards all kind of starting to show up. I have these great trusted clients who trust us, which is just, to me, humbling and so powerful, and the best feeling in the world, when you have these clients who, and we've kind of weeded out any clients who aren't nice and don't like us and don't respect what we do. We just don't work with them. But so many of our clients are just such great human beings who appreciate the hard work we do and the thought process and the intelligence that we bring to the table. So
you said something I think very, very important and profound, in the fact that you can't be everything to everyone, and nobody bats 1,000. That's not the point in this. It's finding like-minded people, your clients, your relationships that jive well, that mesh well, that see the way we see things, and they walk the way we walk, and it's not adversarial. That's a very blessed place to be.
Sure.
In your practice and in your profession.
And you can't start there. Don't think you can. If you're an advisor and you think you're going to start at the top and have it your way and have you got to grind it out. You got to work for it. But the reward is phenomenal. This business is phenomenal. People need financial help so bad. Financial detox. That's why I started the book, or started the concept in the book, and I wrote the book and did the show. It's just, people really need to be detoxified financially. Like most of us need health detox, right? We need to cleanse. We need to eat better. We need to drink more water and all that kind of stuff. From a financial perspective, the way most people think about things is quite polluted.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. The more I'm 22 years in this business, I mean, I just realize how many things I don't know that much about, and I realize how I knew nothing then, and I still don't know much. The more you learn, when you get into a particular topic, it's cliche. This is a cliche saying, but the more you know, the more you realize you don't know anything.
Absolutely.
That is true.
And it's always changing. You and I are cut from the same cloth in that regard. It's like anytime I learn something new or take the time to gain another designation or enter in a new facet in my life, it's like, wow, there's so much to learn here. And I'm hungry to learn more, and accepting that says so much about a person. The fact that it's like, yeah, I'm in it, I'm doing this, but I'm committed to the fact that knowledge and learning is an ever-ending journey.
I think the biggest mistake people make, and advisors, but people in general, is just thinking that what you're consuming and what you know is the answer and is right, without being open-minded. I mean, you look at our society from a political standpoint and stuff, it's just so dangerous in what the algorithms of social media are doing to people's minds, right? The confirmation bias. You think something, you want to find something, you get on your social media, your safety net, your little safe, secure place, and you go find that information that is cognitively biased towards what you already think. It's really disastrous. As an advisor, it's really bad to think that you have all the answers or you have the right solution and your way's right, and not being open-minded to other people. It's why at our firm we have an investment committee. We do what we call an ensemble firm. We are run based upon the collective knowledge of all people at our firm. This is not me dictating this is what's going to happen and this is how it goes. In fact, 2 times last year I voted for something for our investment committee for our portfolio structures. I got outvoted. I just said, okay, now I can veto, but I'm not going to 99% of the time. And guess what? By the collective knowledge of my team, those are good decisions. Had I worked in a vacuum by myself and made up my own portfolios and did my own thing,
a tactical error,
it would have been an error. And now wouldn't it have hurt people, but it wouldn't have been good. It was better the way we did it, because we constantly try to break what we're doing. And we allow outside people to give suggestions and comments, and we take our portfolios to firms like BlackRock, and we take them to firms like Rob Arnett and Research Affiliates and Wisdom Tree and Dimensional, and we say, break it. Find out tell us what's wrong. What are we missing, right? You really have to have, I think, that open mindset and that learner's mindset, because if you think you know it all and you got it all hammered down and perfect and you figured it out, you're wrong.
Financial planning is like a think tank.
It is. You just got to keep thinking and keep reviewing. It's like mold and clay. You just got to keep working it to get it to be perfect. And you never stop working it. You always find ways to make it better.
So I read your book. We talked briefly about it, and you said that was a pretty good attempt at my first, transaction at authoring a book. And I read it. I thought it was very good. It's very insightful. It's very good for the consumer. I love some of the chapters in it.
You're like the 6th person to read that.
Oh, please. Why does it say over 2 million copies? So I'm just kidding. It's not.
That would be cool if that happened.
But I thought it was pretty. It's a good book. It's a good read for the consumer. So for me, it's kind of like playing to the name, right? Financial Detox. You do a very good job of explaining that. I think that's a great. So brand recognition and creating ideas and thinking outside the box, wonderful. That's something that advisors can learn from. To me, it's like, this is about knowing what I'm supposed to do, like eating my vegetables. Yeah. But everybody knows that if I eat vegetables regularly, I'm going to be healthier from that.
Sure.
But how often are they really consuming enough of the right vegetables?
Right.
This is to me, that was my takeaway. It's like, this is an enlightening tool for a consumer to learn more about being more proactive and knowledgeable of eating vegetables and doing the right thing.
Well, and that was the point, right? Is to break down some of these kind of industry secrets and barriers and just give you a fresh look at what's really going on, breaking down mutual funds and how the different share classes and stuff. So I get a little into the weeds and that kind of stuff. But these are things that if you're an investor with 500,000, $1 million, 2 million, 5 million, I mean, 100,000, right? Whatever amount of money you have is really important to you.
Yeah.
You should take it seriously, because there is a lot of misinformation and bad. That's why I say avoid toxic advice. There's a lot of toxic financial advice. One of my best friends sent me an email last night. He said, "What do you think of this? This guy called me up and he has this investment platform laid out." I mean, it's the worst thing I've ever seen. I've seen it a bunch of times in my life and in my years, but I mean, it's just disastrous, right? It's a horrible strategy and product that was going to deliver huge commission to that advisor, and ultimately blow up on my buddy. Unrealistic illustrations,
and he's considering it because there's so much sizzle.
Oh, the guy sizzled him out, and I'm just like, you can't be serious, right? And but he was serious, and He's like, wow, I didn't realize that. So I gave him a list of questions to ask the advisor.
And I think it was chapter 7. This is the other part about it is people get so hung up on accumulation, rate of return, and growth and all this stuff. And I think it's chapter 7 of your book where you talk about taxes and how that's so important for the financial planning process. And certainly as I develop more, or accumulate more assets, taxes become, I would say, almost pivotal in the sense that it's now more important in many cases than even rate of return.
Yeah, how much you keep is really important, right?
At the end of the day.
Yeah, how much you keep after taxes, after expenses, how much you keep is super important.
Because otherwise, what am I doing it all for? What are my fulfillments in life? What am I trying to accomplish? What am I trying to achieve? Obviously, I'm trying to create a lifestyle that I can sustain. But from there, it's also what other extra credit things do I want to accomplish, whether that's legacy, charitable contributions, things of that nature.
That's a financial plan you just talked about.
Well,
but I mean,
read
really,
Financial Detox.
If you think about it, I mean, that is not done enough in our industry, right? Is to say, what's the purpose? It's crazy. I'll sit down with people, multiple fives, tens, millions of dollars, and they don't know what their purpose is. I'm like, what's all the money for? What's the real purpose? Oh, I don't want to lose it. I want to get a good return. Well, no, that's not the answer. Okay, now let's start peeling that back. What does that mean? You don't want to lose it. Why don't you want to lose it? What do you want to do with it? You know, what is the purpose of your money? How do you maximize your life from a financial perspective? And if you don't have a plan, Alex and I talk about this on our show all the time, right? If you don't, and us as advisors, since we're talking to advisors, if you got to help your client plan. So get eMoney, get Money Guide Pro, get something. Use a tool to take your clients through a planning process. You will be wickedly more successful. You will sell more product. You will have more assets under management. You will do a better job for your clients if you take them through a planning process. It doesn't need to be laborious and crazy. You don't need to be a Jedi mathematician. The software programs that are out there today are amazing. It's just people don't know how to use them. Advisors don't know how to use them and take their clients through that process.
Take the time to learn it, invest in it.
But you'll get
choose a lane.
You'll get the wallet share too. Like if as advisors, we want to gather most of our clients' wallet share, right? Mm-hmm. We want to be their advisor. It's really hard to be an advisor to somebody who has 3 other advisors and you don't have the whole picture. And how do you really help that person, right? Now you're a product salesman.
Right.
So being a product salesman sucks. You have to start every single day. You have to sell a new product. You don't have deep, embedded, entrenched relationships of trust and confidence. That sucks. So don't be a product salesman. Become a financial planner, and ultimately there's going to be some solution that you're going to deliver, but you're going to gain the client's trust and confidence, and you're going to do a better job for the client. When you do a better job, you get more referrals, you gather more money, and everybody wins.
Right.
That would be my advice to, not that you asked for that, but I gave it.
No, I love that. Thank you.
It's that would be the advice for the advisors to, particularly in your lane. And I mean, you guys do such a good job at what you do as a testimony for you, because I've worked with a couple different FMOs and IMOs, and can't even tell you the difference between an FMO and IMO if there is one. But, watching Nick help me with clients and their life insurance needs and how it's just unprecedented.
Yeah.
How good he is and how they do that. So find your
kudos to Nick, Danielle. You guys are phenomenal.
Yeah, seriously, you guys are great. And that's nice to say, because if you're running a business or if you're doing comprehensive planning, you do need to have some support in that, because it's a lot.
Absolutely.
It's a lot more than
some of the
selling,
parts.
a lot more than just selling an annuity. Right?
Correct. Heck of a lot more.
And there's so much more to be gleaned from that comprehensive relationship than just hawking a product.
To me too, that's the fun part though about our business and how it's changed over the decade or two, in the sense that our business was very transactional, and it was fine there. It was happy there.
Yeah.
But in the last really 5 to 10 years, there's been dramatic shift of the fact that you cannot just be a product provider, that we are truly helping advisors and their clients plan and provide solutions that make a difference in their lives, and being respectful to the fact that our products just play a complementary role, big or small. That depends on the client and the advisor. And small is fine, but it's about planning, insurance planning or long-term care planning or whatever the role that we're filling, and doing the right thing and providing knowledge. Just like there's so much correlation between how we should, as an IMO or an MGA, provide value to our advisors, and how advisors should be in turn providing the same process and education to their clients.
Well, now I got to deal with MGA too. What's that?
No, exactly. IMO, FMO, MD. I don't know. In our world, so many acronyms. So labor and wealth management to intelligence-driven advisors.
Yeah.
What is in a name? Tell me about that.
I think it's a lot. We worked really hard on this concept because I had labor and wealth management, which was my name, surname, all that kind of stuff. But I really didn't want that inherently. I knew it was wrong when I picked it, but I couldn't come up with something creative at the time because I was just carrying a baby around trying to find an office space and save my clients.
09.
Yeah, trying to save my clients from the vultures who were trying to steal them from me.
Yeah.
I mean that in a nice way. So we worked hard on. We went with labor, but our firm, my firm, is just so much more than me, right? I mean, there's again cliche, but I couldn't get to where I was without the people around me, like Jordy and Alex and Andrew and Thomas and Rick, my dad, who's an advisor at our firm. I mean, there's just the people make the firm.
Absolutely.
You got to have people. So we thought about this gathering of information to solve problems, right? How do we take how do we go get information? How do we get product? How do we solve problems? And if you look up the definition of intelligence, it's what it is the process of gathering information and in a studious academic way or whatnot and solving problems with it or finding solutions for problems or using that method of collecting information. And that's really what we do. And then we're very driven. We're driven by our mission, and our mission is to create financial peace of mind for all people and to steward people's wealth in a transparent way. And you know, it's very big on ethics. As you know, I have a strong faith and just believe that we got to serve other people and take care of them. And so we're driven on ethics and also just attitude. I don't do moody people. We don't do ups and downs. We come in fired up every day, passionate, positive, and optimistic, ready to kick butt for our clients. Mm-hmm. So the driven part fit well. And then advisors is a ADVIS because if you look at the definition of an advisor, according to the Investment Advisors Act of 1940, when suitability versus fiduciary was not such a muddied line, we were to serve our client's best interest. That means a full-time, all-the-time fiduciary. That is what an advisor is. With the growth of broker-dealers and that whole world, they liked to convolute that to advisors. So now both of the terms, the correct word is actually advisors.
ERS.
Yeah.
Right.
ORS is not a word.
Right.
However, it's become acceptable. And even if you look in the dictionary, it'll say both are now acceptable. But you know, when you look at the regulatory body that controls our industry and talks about having a fiduciary obligation to serve your client's best interest, that was embedded in ERS. So,
damn it,
we're advisors.
Danielle, we need to change our name.
Advisor. Look, I mean, it's to us, it's important. I think for you guys, you are serving a lot of advisors and advisors.
Correct.
But for us, as we take this full-time, all-the-time fiduciary responsibility very seriously, we know that there's tons of people who are selling broker-dealer products, not disclosing their full commission, who will tell their clients they're fiduciaries, and they're just not.
Yeah.
They're either lying and being deceitful, or they are truly just misinformed and unintelligent about the concept and the topic.
That is so insightful and informative. So many of our advisors probably don't know the difference.
Yeah, and
fundamentally they don't. So we thought about that. Danielle can attest the fact that we actually deliberated extensively over whether we do ER or OR.
Yeah.
So it was deliberate in the sense that we were building a brand.
Yes.
Marketing to a group of individuals, and that's the norm today, as opposed to interjecting maybe a more English term, historical term that's been used.
Yeah.
So, there's where I'm very appreciate you providing that explanation.
We laugh about it because we were ERS, ORS. I mean, we were back and forth like 1,000 times.
Arm wrestling? Did you arm wrestle?
Full on. I mean, there was, we got on Jim Papillo's, what does he have? Some Krav Maga mat. No, it's a Greco-Roman wrestling mat in his house. So, we were
duked it out.
Yeah, but it was back and forth between the collective knowledge of our team trying to decide and basically vote on what made the most sense. search engine optimization. People won't find us because we're ERS. They're going to spell our name wrong. They're going to,
Yeah, you think of all these angles.
Oh, man, in the end, nobody really cares. Right? Nobody cares.
No.
People care if you care about them and you're doing a good job for them, and if you know what you're doing. That's all anybody cares about.
To me, the insight there is be deliberate about putting thought into what your name is. And again, you can always change it. You did.
I've changed it 3 times. Labrum Capital Advisors to Labrum Wealth Management, because I was like, capital advisors, capital advising. Are we really wealth managers, right? We're wealth managers. So, all right, we changed it to that. And then the last and final pivot, I think, is intelligence-driven advisors, and that's where we'll make it home.
Be intentional, have a purpose, be willing to adjust and change over time. And
got to be able to pivot and have range.
Yeah.
That's what we do best, you and I, right? We have range. Like, you can turn on some gangster rap, or you can throw it right into some hardcore country, or you can go into some blues. I mean, whatever, man.
Yeah.
We'll go with it.
Speaking of your snow days this winter, you crushed it.
So it's 12 so far, but I'm going to get a couple more.
Some powder days.
Oh,
you had some fantastic time.
Opening up the runs at Alta after 24 inches of blower was certainly the highlight. We were pushing powder most of the day. It was great. Kids are screaming.
So we survey most of our advisors.
Yes.
Thank you for taking the time to do that.
Oh, did I do it?
You did.
Good.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
The one area that there's so much information to be gleaned and learn about a person from doing a very thought-provoking, intentional survey.
Yeah.
And what is the most important to you in life? I asked you in the survey, and you scored 1 to 8. Number 1 is faith and religion. Number 2, quality family, friend time. And number 3 is meditation, relaxation. Yeah. You are a very family-oriented, faith-based person. Within your practice and your schedule, what are your favorite things to do with your family, and how do you make the time? How do you arrange this crazy, noisy, busy world to find time to do those 3 things?
Oh, man, it's a good question. Just make it happen. I guess.
But there's more to that. I mean,
is there? Let me think.
There's got to be, like.
I've always believed in this work hard, play harder motto, right? I really want to work to play, not. Or how does it go? What's the saying? I want to live to.
Gosh, you and I are like.
I want to work to
carbon
live,
copies.
Not live to work.
That's right.
Work to live.
I never had a father. My father passed away when I was about 4. And became very, very close with an only child. His name was Dennis, and we were brothers growing up, and his dad took me under his wing. His name was Dave. So much of who I am today is credit to him.
Yeah.
And he ran a construction company, and he was a hard charger. But he would always tell us, you do not live to work. You work to live.
Yeah.
You bust your ass at what you're doing every given day so that you can provide yourself the opportunities to go what it is you truly want to accomplish in life.
Yeah.
And that was fantastic advice that I live by every day.
Yeah, clearly. Because you're always having fun. I mean, you're mountain biking and you're boating and you're skiing and doing all the things. And I think, you have to do that, especially if you're going to charge hard and work and be committed. You really have to blow it off every once in a while. You have to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I think the same thing that you have. My dad was like that. He did it by example. He didn't even tell me. I was fortunate enough to have my dad and still do. So, but he played hard, but he also worked his guts out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he worked his guts out too much. He worked so much that it was like the guy who works the hardest wins.
Right.
And I think he always just worked so hard, but he also then played just as hard. And so it was kind of this balance. So,
but you learned from that, and you've adjusted to that.
Yeah, I think so. And I love coaching.
I mean, you run your life similarly, but probably dramatically different than how your father did.
It is different. I coach kids sports and stuff, so I just put that stuff on my calendar. It's on my calendar, like 4:30 tomorrow, right? Or Thursday is my football practice. And normally I'd work till 7, but I'm not going to on Thursdays because Thursdays I took on coaching. And
if it's not on your calendar, does it happen?
No, not even close. In fact, some of the things on the calendar don't happen. But
right.
No, it's got to be on the calendar. And having a calendar and a contact management system and stuff has been, I would say if I had to credit one like technology or something to success, has been a CRM. And knowing how to use it, right? And calendaring and just being organized from that fashion.
What does IDEA use?
We use Redtel.
Okay.
It's sufficient.
Yeah.
It's not phenomenal.
But you've picked a product and you've embraced that product and you're using it to what you would define as the fullest.
Yeah, we could even be better, and we're working on a process right now, a training manual through a program called Trainual online training to make it better with video based and quizzes for our people, so that you have to like pass a test to prove you understand, you're proficient in it.
Yeah.
But it's a heartbeat, right? Every client's on a call cycle. Every single client knows they're going to hear from us proactively on their cadence that they've agreed to, that they like. Our clients don't ever not hear from us. Our clients are never going to say, I wonder what IDA is doing. I wonder what Jason or Alex or my advisor is doing, because every single one of them is on a call cycle where my client, Faranack, who's phenomenal, and my client service associate, she schedules that call, puts it on my calendar.
What do you do for clients non-financial services related? Like birthday wishes, anniversary, these kinds of things, events or what have you? Anything?
We do a really cool Thanksgiving pie event. COVID's kind of crushed that. So what we do is we send out this email where they...
Wait. Tell normal world, what is this Thanksgiving
It's so
pie
cool.
event?
It's so fun. So we just basically go to a local pie maker in Carlsbad Village Pie Shop. They make phenomenal pies. And we send out this invitation to our clients that says you can order 1 or 2 pies and come by our office and pick them up. And so then we have this pie day where people are coming by all day long picking up pies, and we're pouring hot toddies, and we have sample pies out, and we have music rocking, and we just hang out and everybody picks up a pie.
That's so cool. So normal world, how many people would partake?
Oh man, we'd have more than 100 come by our office that day. And then some people hang out all day, and we have to get them Ubers home. We're like, this is like a come pick up a pie, have a quick
right.
It's not an all day event.
So 2021?
Probably pie event will come back. It's a big hit. We're big on Thanksgiving, not Christmas cards and stuff. And we're average to really bad at the birthday wishes and that, because we're just not great at that.
Yeah.
We kind of focus most of our energy and efforts on the financial planning and the investment, and we just let that show our love.
Right.
Besides the pie event and stuff, we just haven't been big gift givers and stuff like.
Yeah.
We love our clients. We had a really cool idea. We had a WOW experience campaign going on that I guess we're getting re-kicked off, which would be great. Which is, it's a contest every month from everybody at the firm who can give the best, most creative gift to a client. In other words, you find out that your client's having a grandbaby, and it's their first grandbaby, and so you got them this special, cutting board with the grandbaby's name. I don't know. I'm just throwing something.
Right.
But whoever can give the best gift, and then at the end of the month, we say, all right, who gave what gifts? And the firm pays for the gift, obviously, and whoever gives the gift gets $100.
That's fun.
Or something. Just to create a little competition and fun around trying to make that wow client experience, like capture those special moments. The birthday cards or the Christmas cards and the birthday cards to me seem kind of cliche. It's just not my style. I'd rather capture that moment that really means something to somebody.
Yeah.
And hit them right then and show them, hey, I love you, man. I'm thinking about you.
Right.
So that's kind of.
So from zero to where you are today, a 1.1 billion firm with assets under management, what does the overview of the organization look like today? You're headquartered in Carlsbad, but you have offices around.
Fort Worth,
and are we
Scottsdale.
growing? We're looking for more advisors. Talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we are. We're really picky and have brought on like 3 advisors in our whole lifetime because you have to understand the mindset and want to be part of the collective knowledge of a team. So we don't do the typical big-headed ego guy from the wirehouse who knows everything and likes to do it his way and only his way. We're more of people who say, hey, I can fit into the broader complex of this collective knowledge and be accretive to it and help. And I also think that there's probably somebody here who knows something I don't know. And if we all put our heads together, we're going to be way better than if we don't. Those are the type of advisors we're looking to grow. And then we grow organically. And I love bringing up young advisors and training them. Thomas, who is a intern for us, those are just ideal because we teach them what we think is the right way to do the business, and then they become really great contributors to the firm. Yeah, we're going to keep growing. We have offices in Fort Worth and Scottsdale and Temecula, Carlsbad, putting official management structure in place now.
Dallas?
I think Dallas
or Fort Worth?
Good. Well, we're Fort Worth.
Yeah, you have an
office. We're in downtown Fort Worth.
There you go.
It's awesome.
So what?
Bonnie and Ryan are out there. They crush it. 2 great advisors.
what would you define, professionally speaking, as it relates to just the context of IDA, your picture of success within the next, let's say, I don't know, you define the time frame, but in the future, what is the picture of success for the firm? Have you thought about that much?
Well, if we fulfill our mission, right, and our mission is really creating true financial peace of mind for huge swaths of people. Like we serve about 1,300 families right now. We would like to serve thousands of families. Right. And so the only way we can do that is with great people. We're going to need great advisors. We're going to need great client service associates and admins and so
innovate technology and all of that. I mean,
we're going to have to keep moving forward. And we've just developed a 401k product that's available for advisors to use too, called Future Ready 401k. It breaks down it's probably worth a whole show at some point, but it just breaks down all of the challenges that come from the 401k business as an advisor. It's so not scalable. It's so inefficient because you have all these record keepers you got to deal with. You got to deal with TPAs. You got to deal with the plan sponsor and the HR and the business owner. And so what we've done is put together a kind of like the model portfolio story we told.
Within 401k planning.
We've done it in 401ks. It's phenomenal.
Danielle wrote it down, by the way.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll happen.
It delivers.
I would love to learn more about that.
It's sweet. It'd be great for your advisors because people can plug it. Like you can be, if you're with a broker dealer or something, you may have a platform you have to get on, but phenomenal.
Independent
advisors can absolutely use it and put their own label on it.
Wow.
They can white label their name, Future Ready 401k. It's cost efficient. It's transparent. It's the education is customized and tailored towards every participant automatically. Customized managed portfolios for every participant automatically, no additional cost. It's the best of every good thing in the 401k arena, and it's ex-nay and the antithesis of every bad thing in the 401k space.
Wow.
It's taken 2 years to build it, but we just built it. It's gonna be really
fantastic.
Cool. Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
So now let me pivot, which I know you are giving a lot of thought to this in your life personally. What is your picture of success as you look forward for you personally in the next 2, 3, 5 years? I mean, you've given a lot of thought, I think, to this. You ponder.
Well, heck yeah, we threaten to move every single week. We move every month. Just trying to, that's a great question.
But you are what that says about you is you are very much a free and independent thinker.
Yes.
And you're constantly challenging yourself of like, what's my purpose and where am I going?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me would be to spend less time thinking about my family and where we want to go and what we want, and start thinking more about how do we give better, right? When your income, this phrase keeps coming through my mind. When your income increases, increase your standard of giving, not your standard of living. Mm-hmm. And I have everything I want. Materialistically, I need nothing. Right. We're blessed beyond belief. I've worked hard for it, but still there is blessing in that. God has a path, and I don't know what that is, but I'm going to try and find that. That's my definition.
That's your journey.
I think success, and just be balanced and have control over my days and be responsive and on time, and have control and continue to have a lot of fun and continue to build something. But in the end, the biggest overarching theme, I think, is find more ways to serve and pursue giving to others.
I was just having a conversation with Ryan yesterday. Davin Salvagno, who's been on our podcast, he's author of a book. His whole business is purpose. His company's called The Purpose Point, and great person. But it was dumb luck, happenstance, just timing, was able to meet Ken Blanchard, like an idol of his. Yeah. And he guy's in his 80s. He doesn't have to spend time with anybody that he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And he sat Davin down, just impromptu. Let's do you have lunch plans? And I forget the context of how they met, but this was recent. This was within 2020, and they sat down and had a lunch. And then awesome. He becomes kind of immersed in Davin's purpose, his mission, his business. Davin then authors a book last year. Ken offers to do the forward for it, and puts attach my name to it. And what a blessed place to be in your life, where he doesn't have to do anything for anybody but himself, but he's been so deliberate in Davin's life and in his business and helping him for simply, I think the fact, and I obviously I don't know, I'm just outside lens looking in, but it's like this gentleman, you can tell, is accomplished personally, like professionally, everything that one would in being an author and force for good, if you will. Yeah. And I'm gaining now more fulfillment in my life by recognizing opportunities in people and helping them with their purpose. What a cool thing.
I mean, in the end, there's no joke about it is better to give than receive, right? You do feel more satisfaction.
The greatest gift you'll ever get, right?
One thing that drives me nuts is people who go hard in their whole life and they accumulate and they get these things and then they have so much to offer, but yet they just kind of retire and die, right? I think it's a bad way to go. I think the end of our life should be that time where we get to be most fulfilled because we're fulfilling other people, right? We have the wisdom to share. Hopefully we have the resources to share. By then you should have the time to share because you don't have to do anything you don't want to do because you have the resources and the wisdom.
Right.
And what an amazing time of life to like have the best, to go out with a bang. You know, I mean, to really finish it. Sounds like that's what he's doing, but that's what I want to do is get to a point where, you know, you don't have to do anything except help other people and give. And I don't mean that cliche and cheesy. I hope it doesn't sound that way because I really think
I don't think so. And in doing so, receive so much in return, I think.
Yeah, it's almost self-fulfilling. It's almost a self-promoting thing in a way anyway because you feel so good about doing something good for somebody else. You have so much fun and joy and true happiness from that.
Yeah.
That you're actually serving yourself too. It's
an interesting mindset.
Yeah, it's different. But man, we got it good. Life is good and it's just keep going, man.
We'll see you in a few days for Slush Fest.
I can't. Slush Fest 2021.
It'll be better than that.
It's going to be horrible. But the tomahawks are going to be great. And
Absolutely.
I'm sure there'll be some wine flowing.
The company will be very,
we need
very
to
good.
Bring like our own. No, well, we're not in Utah, so we can buy wine.
Nevada. Yeah, exactly.
Do we need to like case it in?
No. We'll solve that problem. Yeah, that was an interesting.
It's always interesting there.
Try solving that problem on a Sunday in Utah. Not easy.
Yeah, man. I hope we changed your advisors' lives today. Hope we helped somebody.
Enlighten something.
Yeah.
Enlighten someone.
Yeah.
Make a difference.
Yeah.
So how do people, let's talk to me about your podcast. You've been doing it a little bit. You're on the radio show 2 years.
A couple of years.
We talked about, your
we
marketing.
Talked about it before,
your marketing as a firm.
Before the show, it's interesting. I'm trying to blend a radio show and a podcast into one. So it's kind of interesting, which I don't know how well it works.
Pushing the boundaries again. There you
go.
go.
Just trying it out. What the heck? You know, I do believe in activity breeds success. Even if it's wrong, just do something. Too many people sit around and have analysis by paralysis and they just don't get it going. You got to just go. Just do it, right?
Yeah, you are a doer.
Yeah, well, so that's our marketing. I mean, is we just do things, right? We're active. We have a great website, I believe. We try and put content out. We do the radio show. Alex is my on the show with me, and he's awesome. He's a really good balance. He's just kind of calm and cool and really smart guy, and I'm a little more spazzy, but it works out well. That has not helped us like directly a whole bunch from, we got a new client from that radio show or that podcaster. Every once in a while we get a nice client from it, but what it's really helped is the halo effect.
Yeah.
You know, it's this credibility and authority marketing, right? Where it's sincere because it's embedded in 22 years of experience and, you know, the book and just what we deliver to clients and how many clients we serve. So it's sincere. It's not fake authority and fake credibility. But having that radio show and that kind of stuff, I think really helps. I think it just, like I told you the story about a prospective client who we were having a conversation. I'm asking him a lot of questions and he seemed kind of lukewarm. But then in the end, I said, I'm going to send you a copy of my book and then I'll send you a link to our radio show and podcast and all that. And he was like, the whole thing changed. His whole tone changed. And then
like a switch.
The person who referred him, he sent them an email and said, oh, yeah, it was a great conversation. I'm going to go with them. So I just got that yesterday, which is great. New client coming on to the firm. But I really think the radio show, a book, and a podcast had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. I
think the people just like to know that you're out there and you're exposed. That's what I tell people. Google me. So, I'm out there.
Yeah.
And I'm exposed. You can find out who I am.
Exactly. I don't need to give you my business card.
Yeah.
That's so dated.
Yeah, it's old school, man. That's the best business card if you can write a book.
Absolutely.
That's a good business.
And just having content that exists out there, right?
Yeah, and write out, even if it's like a page or two. Write, like when you have a concept or an idea, write it down and blog it, post it out. Just every little bit helps. Search engine optimization is really interesting, and the algorithms are changing all the time. But I really got into that for a while. Trying to figure out how the algorithms work and to make sure that we drive new eyes to our websites.
Right.
And, a couple of times a year, we get a really great client that comes in from, and we
a social media platform or some online
website,
presence.
Yeah. They come to our website and they find us.
Yeah.
Like being organically ranked well in the searches and stuff. But that stuff, again, it's a long game. Everything's a long game.
It's a long game. Exactly.
It's a long game.
And that's a hard thing to get for us to get advisors to kind of embrace and understand. The question is always why? Why? Why do I do this now? What's it going to do for my business tomorrow? Well, define tomorrow. Tomorrow is the future.
Yeah.
Is my answer. And if you want to scale and you want to create a brand awareness and become more to the people you serve, this is part of the process.
It is a big puzzle with lots of pieces. And I don't think you have to be Johnny expert, perfect, Jedi master at any one thing, back to kind of our nature. But I think you have to do kind of good at all of them, right? You have to have a lot of fingers out there. It's like I tell my advisors and stuff, be interesting and be active. Like, do things. If you don't have enough hobbies or you're bored, that's a problem. Like, find something to do.
Right.
Like, be an interesting person. Go
take action. Start with something.
Yeah. Shoot. Even if it's wrong, start a website. Try and learn what a meta tag is, and put some definitions and some things behind the articles that you put out there, and you'll get results, because activity breeds success, and most people aren't that active.
Right.
So you differentiate yourself so much by just doing things.
Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
This was fun.
That was fun. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. You guys do a great job.
Until next time.
All right. Cheers.
Jason Labrum.